I was looking at the developer survey on Stack Overflow and wondered how the popularity of languages changed over the years. But the visual style of the charts changed a bit over time. Now, I wanted to see some kind of trend per language, but I could not find it on Stack Overflow. So I thought, why not take the data and plot it myself? It's a nice Saturday morning project, and you can just lean back and watch the show. Now, the cool thing is that the good people of Stack Overflow published all these data sets in CSV format. And what I'm going to do is I will probably download them all and extract the correct data from it. So let's have a look at what this data contains. Now, these data sets are really huge, and there are many columns that are probably the questions asked in the survey. What I will do is I will look for a column that has languages in them. Okay, language have worked with. Language want to work with. Okay, language have worked with. Seems that you can choose multiple languages and the data shows them here separated with a semicolon. There's also some NA not available, not applicable. So we need to filter these out later. But this seems to be the data that I'm looking for. I'm not interested in any other data, so I will just select this whole column here. And I will just paste it in a text file. Actually, I will create a text file per year. I'm going to paste the data in this 2025 text file. And as you see, there are roughly 50,000 entries. That's quite a lot, by the way. So a lot of people answer these questions. There are a lot of not available, not applicables here. So let me see if they have a column header. Yes, language have worked with. So I'll get rid of this one. And then the only thing I get is either these semicolon separated languages or not available. Okay, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to do this for each year. So I downloaded 8 years of data, and that's far back enough for me. Now I will install a Jupyter Notebook on my machine so I can do some first analyzing of the data. Now, the first thing I'm interested in is to see if the data I'm seeing here roughly matches the data I have downloaded, to be sure that I took the right column from the data. So the simplest thing I can already do is see if this sorting here reflects in the data I got locally now. Let me read the data from 2025. So these are all the lines from the file. And let's first check out how many there are. So roughly 50,000. And when I look at the data, and then you see that it is indeed this number here. Let me filter out these not availables. Let me check how many lines there are. Okay, that sounds about right. So I filtered out the not availables. Now at this point, I want to group all the languages by language, and then for each group I want to see how often they occur. So I'll use a dictionary for this. So let's start with an empty one. For the lack of a better name, I'll call it stats. And I go through all the lines. And each line was a semicolon separated list. So I get the individual languages, and then I'm going to walk through them. Check if they're in the dictionary. So, and if they are, then I can increase the counter. And if not, I need to add them to the dictionary. And then set the initial value to 1. Okay, let's check whatever is in stats right now. Ah, look at that. So look at the data. I get the languages, and the values are the occurrences. There's an empty line here, so an empty language. So let me filter that out as well. It could be that last empty line. So when I read the file, let me first trim it. Oh, it's not called trim, strip in Python. So, and then I'll do this again. Yeah, I got one line less now, so I execute this again, and there we go. Now the last line is gleam, whatever that may be. I want to sort now by the value to see if I get the same ranking as we saw here in this overview. By the way, why don't you write in the comments what languages you are using right now? Ah, the values. No, not values. I need the items from it. So I get the key plus the value. Yes, and then it will sort by name, so alphabetically. But I don't want that. I want to sort by the second element. So that's item 1. And there we go. And there we go. Yes. So now I do this in reverse. It's not reverse, but reverse. So, and there we go. Okay, that looks like the sorting we got here. Let's check the first languages. So JavaScript, HTML, SQL, Python, JavaScript, HTML, SQL, Python, and then Bash, Java, Bash, TypeScript, Java, Bash, TypeScript, Java. Yeah, that looks like it's working. So after Java comes C#, my previous love, and there we go. Okay, this looks like it's working. I'm not great with statistics, so I asked Chippy what kind of data structure I need to plot the data. Now it recommends me to create a dictionary with language as key, and the value is another dictionary with key is year and the value is the percentage. So let me try that. Now I know I will read all the years. So what I will do is I will just start over here, and I will create a list of all the years I want to read. So it's 2018, I think, the first one. Yes, 2018. So those are the years. Then I make a loop. Year and years. So I open the file and I read it. Let me print the number of lines and check if that works. Yeah, that works. Nice. I thought this was a good year, but it seems that in 2018 there were even almost 100,000 people answering the questions. So I read this. Let me check what I did here before. Okay, I want the lines without the not availables. So I do that here. Let me check if that works. Line in lines. Yes, let me execute that. I need to print this. So there we go. Yeah, that seems about right. And if I have done that, I will do this again. Let me just copy this and check what will work here. So first thing I do is I move this stats. So if the year is in the stats language, then I will take that part of the stats and I will increase the counter. And if it is not in there, then I will set it to 1. And here, this is the case where the language was not yet in the dictionary. And in that case, I'm going to add it to the dictionary. And I set the counter to the initial value of 1. Let me think about it. I think that should do the trick. Let me test what comes out of this. Of course, this should be equals 1. I need to set it to 1. So I execute the code and look at that. There is the data. Let me check in 2025 let me check 2025 of Python. That was 18,410. I should see that same number here. Yeah. Okay, that works. Let me clean up this a little bit because I don't want the key to have this dot text here. Let me create a year key. And I'll split it on a dot. I'll take the first part. And now let me use this year key here. Here and here and here and here. And let me check if that works. That's better. Now I have a nice year as key. And this seems to work. The only thing I need to do is I've got these absolute numbers and I want a percentage. I think I need to divide this number here by the total amount of surveys and then do it times 100. As I'm said, I'm not the biggest star in statistics or even mathematics. So let me try and see what happens if I do this. So I take this 1 and I divide it by the len of the without an a, and then times 100. And let me just see what happens here if I, actually, let me make a variable from this. So let me call this percentage increment. So I divide this by this, the length of that. So, and now instead of using this one here, I use the percentage inc, and I do the same here and here. Okay, let me see if that works. That seems to be a very low number. What am I doing wrong here? I divide this by the total number. And then I do, let me get rid of these brackets. That's better. Now, for example, let me check the Python value for 2025. Should be 58%. It's probably some rounding error. It's close enough, I think. Let me check JavaScript. Should be 66%. And what is it here? JavaScript, 66%. Yeah, I'm going to forgive myself for the rounding error. Okay, that seems to work. I now have a collection, a dictionary, where the first key is the programming language, then the second, the value is another dictionary where the key is the year and the value is a percentage. And at this moment, I need to plot this on a line. Okay, how am I going to do it? Chippy use data. I guess that's my stats here. Let me see if that works. No module named matplotlib. Unbelievable. There we go. This label is a bit in the way here, but it seems to work. Interesting, this dip here in 2021. Okay, those are way too many languages. Perhaps I should limit it to languages that have, let's say, more than 10%. So let me try if that works. Yes, now I only get the top languages. Let me try and make this a little bit wider. There we go. Now, usually I don't do live sessions like this on YouTube, but if you think this helps you, then please let me know in the comments and I'll try to make more of them.